Hey, everybody, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. And look at this cast of characters I have here tonight. I've got, what do I have? Six comedians now. There may be a seventh one join us, but it's going to be a special night. Each comedian's going to do a few minutes. I'm going to start with a guy from New York who has a parrot or no, some kind of bird named Charlie. And Charlie, I don't know if you guys know this, but Charlie doesn't get along with his daughter. His daughter hides in the room. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Zygy Susser.
Yay!
Hi, Zygy.
Hi, Scott. Hi, everybody. Thanks. Charlie's here, and you're right. He hates our daughter. She flies and bites her. I asked the vet about it, and the vet said it's hormonal, but it's too expensive to get both of them fixed. So anyway, when we're home, we let him fly around the apartment. And one day my wife was getting up off the couch and she accidentally stepped on him, flattened him out like a pancake. He couldn't fly. It was okay, but he couldn't fly. She had no idea he was trying to make his 10,000 steps that day. So brought him to the animal hospital, and they said we'd have to leave him overnight. They want to make sure he doesn't have any brain damage or any broken bones. I said, how do you check a bird for brain damage? What do you do? Ask him who the president is? Ask him to count backwards from 10. I mean, it's ridiculous. So anyway, he signed a medical release and made me his healthcare proxy. And I wanted to do right by him, so I got him a private room, a gilded cage, a phone, and a TV. He watches Jeopardy. He always gets the answer right, but has trouble putting it in the form of a question. So this was expensive, so I had to leave my wife as a deposit. So the next day I get a call, and they said he's doing better. You can come pick him up. So I go to the receptionist, and I said, I'm here for my bird. She said, do you have a woodpecker? I said, no, I do okay with what I have. Thanks for asking. So she brings me to the vet, and the vet said he doesn't have any brain damage. He answered all our questions. We asked him, who brought you here? He said, Bigfoot, meaning my wife. We asked him, what's the theory of the beginning of the universe? He said, Big Bang. We asked him, who's your favorite Sesame Street character? He said, Big Elmo. I know you're supposed to say Big Bird, but I can live with little brain damage. And we knew he didn't have any broken bones, because when we brought in the CAT scan, he flew. He got scared. So they gave me the bird, and then they gave me Charlie. And I picked up my wife, and on the way out, I got one of those yellow reflective vests and one of those like miner's helmets with a lamp on it in case, when he walks at night. And nowadays when he walks around, he says, I'm walking here. So I don't know if you watched Midnight Cowboy, he had that TV on. I don't know. But anyway, little by little, he starts flying again, and he's getting back to normal. And I'm feeling a bit cocky, like, I'm the better parent. I would have never stepped on him. And a month later, I sat on him, flattened him out again like a pancake. Again, he couldn't fly, but I wasn't going to bring him back to the animal hospital. My wife didn't want to spend another night there. So I figured I'll do what they did. So I asked him, what's your favorite vegetable? He said, bird's eye. I said, what's your mother's maiden name? He said, Polly, her last name. Want a cracker? I said, who's the president of the United States? He said, it used to be Joe Burton. Now it's Donald Duck. So I can live with a little brain damage. But, I could see something was still a little wrong, because whenever we had pancakes, he would shake. So it looked like he had PTSD, paratraumatic squashing disorder. So I found a support group for him called Birds of a Plucked Feather. And it was very interesting. There was like a depressed pigeon who was an empty nester, right? You never see a baby pigeon. There's no such thing. There was a paranoid owl who kept going, where? And there was a toucan who couldn't. So, they also helped us, make our apartment safer. So you shouldn't fly through like a plate glass windows. So on some windows, we have pictures of pancakes. I'm trying to get them. On other windows, we have pictures of
There he is.
right, pictures of my wife's foot, and on other windows, we have pictures of my big fat ass. Anyway, I don't know how much time that is, but that's it. That's it for me, I guess. Let me say one more thing.
Hold on. He's got one more.
Let me say one more thing.
Sure.
This is true. By the way, most of that is true. You know, that really did happen. My wife stepped on him. I sat on him. We brought him to the animal hospital. They said to me, I'm really trying to toilet train him. Like I can tell when he's about to poop, he starts walking backwards. So when that happens, I put him on the edge of a little garbage can, but it's a crapshoot. I could say more. You know, like when our daughter visits, like she'll be in her room and he'll pace back and forth waiting for her to come out so he can attack her.
I told you.
Yeah, it's like I'm watching a low budget version of Hitchcock's The Birds. You know, and when she goes by his cage and he's locked up and stuff like that, he says, she says, "Good boy, Charlie," and he says, "Don't patronize me, bitch." Terrible. But she gets back at him. She purposely cracks eggs open right in front of him to get him upset. You know. But nowadays, with the price of eggs, you can't do that so much anymore. Anyway, I think that's my time. So thanks everybody. Love you guys.
Thank you so much, Zygy. That's a great opener. I had a great time. You're right.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
All right,
Great
Zygy.
stuff. Great stuff. Next up, this guy here. He's coming to us from New York. Zygy was from New York. This guy's from New York. He sold over 1,000 jokes. He wrote jokes for Rodney Dangerfield, Phyllis Diller, Joan Rivers. I've had him on the show. I love this guy. He's a comedy legend. Welcome, my buddy, Tom Padovano. Tom, thank you for being here, man.
Well, thank you, Scott. Thank you. Yeah, and my name is Tom Padovano. I'm half robot, half Italian. I'm AI and Ayo. And I'm cheap. I'll admit that. Like on her birthday, I took my girlfriend out to dinner at Wendy's. So she got so upset. She screamed, "You'll pay for this." I go, "Nope. I got coupons."
I thought so.
And yeah, I'm not dating her anymore because I said to her, "Listen, while we were dating, were you dating other men?" She goes, "You're the fifth guy to ask me that today." But it's not easy out there. I was talking to this woman. She said she wants to date 10 men at the same time. I said, "Listen, I'm not into that. I'm monotonous." But I'll tell you, I am lonely. My favorite card game, Texas Hold Myself. Now, my best friend, he's single and Jewish. He's on J-Date. I'm single and Italian. I'm on A-Date. Hey! And I have some interesting relatives like my Uncle Chooch. Yeah, Uncle Chooch. Now, he came from the old country. And when he came to America and saw the Statue of Liberty, he cried because it was the first woman he ever saw with shaved underarms. You don't get that back in the old country. Now, he comes from a poor family. So do I. But every night, my mother had food on the table. I wish we had plates. Now, I remember when I was 7, I said, "Mommy, was I adopted?" "I'm working on it." Oh, then I remember once I said, "Mommy, I wanted a toy truck for my birthday. I didn't get one. I'm upset." She goes, "Stop it. You just turned 50. But I wish I was young again. Now I'm having trouble with Sheila, my 20-year-old, smoking. Sheila will not stop smoking. Sheila's my Chevy. But there's people older than me. Did you know that Bugs Bunny is 80?
Wow.
80. Now when he says, "What's up, doc?" It's his blood pressure. Porky Pig is 77. 77. When he goes, "That's all, folks. It might be." Oh, and speaking of bugs, my apartment has a lot of them. It's disgusting. So the other day, I ran out of Raid. So I sprayed a cockroach with lemon pledge. Yeah, it died, but had a fantastic finish. And I'm sorry, I don't deserve to have bugs in my house because I'm a nice guy. I really am. Like the other day, I was on the subway platform. This guy said, "Do you know what train goes to Coney Island?" I said, "Yes, I do. Have a nice day." I thought it was very nice of me, and I appreciate you letting me perform here, Scott. Really, I'm actually a very private person, even though I do the comedy. Yeah, I don't like people to know my business. As a matter of fact, I just had printed 1,000 none of your business cards. But here I am. I guess that's about 5 minutes. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody.
Tom, I got to tell you, before I take you off full screen, I got to tell you, and I mean this sincerely, because I see you on Facebook, you have to be one of the hardest working guys. I see almost every time you're playing here, playing there, playing there. So I don't think you're private at all.
I guess not anymore. No, that's true.
No, man, you work as hard, almost as hard as Linda Marcus Smith or Elaine Witt.
I can't keep up with them though.
No.
I don't know. You work pretty hard. You guys all work pretty hard. Okay, next up, this guy here, I just interviewed him recently, and I'll tell you what. First off, I know he likes old comedians. He likes Groucho Marx and Laurel and Hardy and older comedians.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when it comes to Rodney Dangerfield, you just take a look at him, and man, I love him. I met Rodney, and I love him. Coming up next, Jeff Greenberg. Jeff, thank you so much for
Right.
being
Thanks, Scott. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Jeff, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, so far I'm doing okay. In fact, today, me and my wife went to the Wayne Library, and they had Eddie. I forgot his last name. Alstrode. Alstrom. He's actually the organist at Yankee Stadium for 21 years. So he had a whole presentation of and all these nuggets of what it was like to play the organ there. He knew so many people. Really interesting. And he was very good friends with Bob Shepard, who was the old PA announcer at Yankee Stadium. Remember Bob Shepard? They would call it the voice of God. So I did a little impression because I do Bob Shepard, so I did some in front of him. So here's my Bob Shepard. So if you remember this, and this is Bob Shepard when he was 96 years old. He was still broadcasting, but they knew he was getting a little too long in the tooth, because his last broadcast was like this. Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. And somebody please get me the number 38 beef with broccoli. Number 30, Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. I just did a number 2 in my underpants. Number 2. Yeah. All right, Bob, that's it. It's time for you to
Off he goes.
back to the home, Bob. Got to get somebody else in there. That's my Bob Shepard there. But I was always a big. I'm not like a Yankee fan, but I'm a big fan of like Bob Shepard.
Baseball's coming back. We're getting ready for
that's right. Yeah, opening day in a couple of weeks. On there. So let's see. What's new? What's new? Oh, hey, everybody be okay with their clocks going and being said, spring forward, everything was worked out okay with that on Sunday. I want to tell you something. That when we move our clocks forward, that is my absolute favorite day of the year. You know why? It's one less hour of my wife screaming at me. It's really that's really what it is. It's really one. Yeah, another thing too. Another reason I like it. It's one less trip in the middle of the night to the bathroom.
Yeah, I hear that one.
It's two trips instead of three. So that's really why it's my favorite day. And how about Valentine's Day? Everybody have a good Valentine's Day with all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my Valentine's Day was kind of a mixed bag. It was good news and bad news. The bad news is on Valentine's Day, my wife gave me 3 pounds of chocolate, and I'm type 2 diabetic. But the good news is she went out to dinner with her boyfriend, so I got out of paying for a meal. So that was the good news, on Valentine's Day on there. Let's see, what else is going on. I'm doing a show at a temple in Rye tomorrow, a Purim show in Rye you know. And I'm used to doing Purim shows. I seem to do a lot of them because usually when I'm on stage, I hear a bunch of people in the audience going, "For him, for him," you know. All right. Now I want to tell you something about Purim. Is the when I was a kid. All right, I was always into like practical jokes and all that. So on Purim at the temple. I would bring. We had to make these different projects. We had to make that. So I made the Western Wall. The Wailing Wall out of Domino sugar cubes. I brought that in. 3 kids who were type 1 diabetic fainted. They passed. I walked it. No, I remember one year I came in. I was dressed as an Arab. It's like they threw me out. I want to tell you something. It was tough in Hebrew school because my mother was so embarrassed from me. That they're always calling her and complaining about, what kind of practical joker I'm interrupting class and all that. So, when they picked you up at Hebrew school, there was always a line of cars, all the parents waiting to pick you up in the afternoon. My mother was so embarrassed from me, it was like driving a getaway car. She would just she would tell me just get into the back and she would start burning rubber out of that lot. I'm going to tell you, she didn't want any of the other parents to see what was going on. That's how bad it was. But anyway, speaking of like temples and stuff, this kind of reminds me of my bar mitzvah. I was bar mitzvahed in 1971, at Temple Beth Shalom in Livingston, you know. So in my bar mitzvah, my mother said to me, she said, Jeff, please, whatever you do, don't embarrass the family. Think of the family, please. Don't embarrass us. I said, Ma, don't worry about a thing. So I would get up on the bima or the stage.
Right.
So I would get up there and I would say, "Hey, what a crowd! What a crowd! Hey, Rabbi, you wear a hat like that, they ought to give you a free bowl of soup. I tell you, What do you mean the Haftorah? I'll do the whole thing while I'm here. Hey, Uncle Seymour, you brought a family of 5. The check better be more than $35. I tell you that. Oh, there. Oh my God. Yeah. So, let's see what I'm trying to think what else is going on. We still got a lot. We still got how much time? We got a little, I'll do like another minute or so. Is that
Sure,
okay,
go ahead,
Scott?
Jeff. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, you can have the free version of Zoom. It gives you like what, 22 minutes? Is that the?
Buddy, hey, listen, for you, I rolled out the red carpet.
All right. I wasn't
Jeff,
sure
if
what
you want to
plan
go
you
an
had.
hour, you go
I don't
ahead,
want to be
buddy.
cut off in the middle of a joke.
I tell you, it's rough. My wife gives great headache.
Yeah, my wife's good. That's a good one. I like that. Oh my God.
There you go. I met
Yeah.
him. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, I'll do a little Henny. I'm a big Henny Youngman fan. Any Henny
Yeah, me
Youngman
too.
fans?
Yes.
I'm a big Henny Young. Here's one of my
Absolutely.
favorite Henny Youngman jokes. Here's my favorite. An old man goes to the doctor. He says, "Doctor, doctor, I can't pee. I have trouble peeing." Mr. Schwartz, how old are you? I'm 98. You peed enough.
Yeah.
You know. I just came back from a pleasure trip. I took my mother-in-law to the airport. How about this? This is another one of my favorites from Henny
Go
Youngman.
ahead.
All right. I'm in New York the other day, and a bum comes up to me, and he says he hasn't eaten in 3 days. I told him, "Force yourself." Another bum came up to me and said he hasn't tasted food in 2 days. I said, "Don't worry, it still tastes the same." You know, I'm a big Henny Young. Okay, here's my last Henny Youngman. This is actually my all-time favorite Henny Young. Let's go.
All right.
Real quick, and then I'll end with that. I'm talking to a man the other day. He said he was married 3 times. I said, "Oh, 3 times? Oh, well, what happened to your first wife?" "Oh, my first wife, she died from eating poison mushrooms." "Oh my God, that's terrible." "Oh, well, what happened to your second wife?" "Oh, my second wife, unfortunately, she also passed away from eating poison mushrooms." "Oh my God, that is horrible, horrible." But what happened to your third wife?" "Oh, my third wife, she got hit in the back of the head with a hammer." "Hit in the back of the head with a hammer? How did that happen?" "She wouldn't eat the poison mushrooms." That's I think that's enough for me. I want to.
Listen, Jeff,
You
that was
guys have been
wonderful. I
great.
love it. I love it. You're fantastic. It's always a pleasure to see you. Next up,
Oh,
this
okay.
this young lady used to live in Las Vegas, and she recently moved to New York, if I'm correct. She's interviewed, I think, 1,166 different comedians, and it's a real pleasure to have my buddy, Linda Marcus Smith, join us. Linda, how are you, buddy?
Hi there. Thank you so much, Scott. Thanks for moving me around as I had a plan pop up. Thank you so much. You guys are so funny. I'm over here muted and laughing my tail off. It's fabulous. So, you know, Jeff, he does impressions, and I've always envied people like Jeff who can do voice impressions.
Right.
You know, not jealous, just envious.
Yeah.
I want to do like 1,000 voice impressions, but I'm older and I'm afraid I'll draw a big Mel blank. Okay,
Mel
that's
blank.
short.
There you go.
One of my short-lived jokes. Okay, so my name is Linda Marcus Smith. For those of you that don't know, it's not Smyth, it's Smith every day.
Oh my.
I go by 3 names because, well, I'm still mad about John Wilkes Booth. 160 years, boomers can hold grudges. Am I right, guys? Yeah,
Yep.
I've been holding this grudge. See, he makes me mad because he got famous with one headshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It blows my mind apart, too. I'm over here at West Side Comedy Club, which is in the Upper West Side of New York City. And, you know, I tell people in New York that I'm from the Upper West Side, Jeff. I do every time I can. And they don't believe it, you know? And I'm like, no, I am. I'm from the Upper West Side of the map. Get with the program. I'm from Oregon, a little town no one ever hears of in the news, Portland. Yeah. We always hear about it when it's bad news. You know, the mayor said that I was the best export. Do you have any idea what I had to do to Tanya Harding, Bigfoot, and Sasquatch? It's not easy. It's not easy. I left because Portland also rivals. They brag and rival with Austin, Texas, for who can be the weirdest. They love saying that they keep it weirder than Austin, Texas. Right, Donna? I see you nodding your head. Yeah.
That's right.
Who in the hell brags about keeping the whole town weird? I'll tell you who. Me. I kept the town weird. When I lived there, I was the best shopper. No, wait. I was a personal shoplifter. I shoplifted and I took it very personal, Bruce. Very personal. So did they. Do you know I almost turned a 5 and dime, I almost nickel and dimed a 5 and dime store into bankruptcy. 1 tube of Lipsky. When you go to Walmart and need anything unlocked, you know who to thank. Me. Yeah. It was wrong to shoplift. Don't get me wrong, Zygy. It was wrong. And I came to terms with it. I went back and I said, would you please forgive me? What can I do to pay you back? Do you know what they said to me, Scott? They said, just don't come back. Whatever. Anyway, now I'm winning because every day in my email, that email thing you get,
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, the bucket. I get these emails from the same store. They're giving me digital coupons to save half on the lipstick I still know how to get for free. They call it digital coupons. Please.
Right.
These were my digits. I still have 10 of them, and they always got me 100%. Yeah. But yeah, I started dating recently because on March 19th, I'm turning 74. So, yeah, that's my way of bragging
March
about
19th,
two
it's
things
just a
that
week away. Happy birthday a week early, Linda.
Thank you. I'm going to Portland, Oregon to do comedy, and I get to see my twin brother a couple days before our birthday, which is
Okay.
awesome. He's funnier than I am. His name is Fred. He writes me jokes all the time. Are you ready to hear a joke he sent me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I said, Fred, I'm so sick and tired of everybody always asking the same stupid question about us twins. You're a boy, I'm a girl.
Right.
And I get sick of them asking, are you identical? And he said, we look exactly alike when he's dressed in drag. That's my twin for you. He's funny. But also, I like getting in trouble. If you know me, I'm a little bit of a troublemaker. I make it sport. I took Helene with me. She took me to some godforsaken place called Long Island, which, by the way, is not long. It's wide, but they call it long, whatever. Florida is long. Long Island is wide. But anyway, she takes me to some place in Long Island. And so I said, turn on the camera. I'm going to show you how I get in trouble everywhere. So I went into a barber shop and I said, do you guys do women? Went to a nail salon and I said, hey, how much I give you for petty file? I want a petty file. Give me petty file. They knew too much English for me. But I just want to let you know in closing, don't ever ask me or Helene what I did at In-N-Out and at Dick's. I'm Linda Marcus Smith.
Oh, man, that was great. That was
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank
Have a
you.
great show tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Scott. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the guy that I said would cause the most trouble, the professor, all the way from New York, Bruce Lipsky is here.
Woo.
Bruce is an amazing guy. I can't tell you how much I love Bruce. I'm sorry about his Detroit Lions, but it's nice to have you here, Bruce.
Thank you, my friend Scott. Thank you. I'm sorry I had to keep on muting myself before. When Zygy had his bird on, I have a dog, and my dog is starting to scratch on the carpet over here. He's going crazy. I was hoping that Ziggy's wife would come by and sit on him or something, but I guess it didn't work. A lot of you guys know we had a cat for 23 years, and after the cat passed away, my wife decided she wanted to get a dog. She couldn't get a regular dog. She got to get one of those designer dogs. When you put two different breeds together. All I know growing up, when you had two breeds get together, we used to call it a mutt. We paid $25 and that was it. Now it's still $4,000. But my wife carries it around like a Gucci handbag right under her arm here. Except the Gucci handbag only costs $2,000. It doesn't need to be walked 6 times a day. And we got this dog from a breeder. And so at the breeder, they asked you like 100 questions. What's your financial records? Have you ever been arrested? They wanted references. It was a tougher interview than my interview with the Federal Reserve. I felt I was trying to get a job at the CIA. Yeah. I got vetted before this dog actually even saw a vet. And she dresses this dog in silk pajamas and a gold collar. He even has a velvet smoking jacket. I don't even know how he got that, but anyway. And she's named this dog Fabio. Fabio. I mean, I don't call the dog Fabio. I call him Houdini. Because with 2 wags of his tail, he's made my sex life completely disappear. Now sex is just a grand illusion. And without the handcuffs.
Uh,
You know how hard it is to perform in bed, Tom, when there's a panting tongue, a wet nose, and the smell of bad breath,
Yes.
and a dog?
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
I tell you, this dog's completely taken over my bedroom. He lays on my side of the bed, on my pillow, next to my wife, snoring and passing gas. What do you think I've been doing for the last 30 years? I'm starting to wonder who the man in the house is. I'm afraid to kick him out of bed. I may get bitten, scratched, and growled at by my wife.
Mhm.
And this dog, every 4 or 6 weeks, he gets a spa treatment. This RV, tricked out RV, pulls into my driveway. It looks like the Queen Mary docking. It's called the Rough Life, RUFF. $150. $150 for a spa treatment, haircut, nose and paw moisturizer, blueberry facial. I got the Rough Life over here. What does he need all that stuff for? He's smelling other dogs' rear ends and rubbing his face in crap all day. That's his spa treatment. I think I need a husband rescue. Tell you, my son came up to me the other day. He said, Dad, now that you just turned 70, you know that 70 is a new 50? And I agreed to it. I heard that all the time. He says, you'd be surprised. Everybody's adopting these philosophies. My college has the same philosophy. He said, I got a 45 recently on my Spanish final. But don't worry, because 45 is the new 80.
Yeah.
I said, I've adopted a new philosophy in my house as well. Did you know that the payphone is the new iPhone? That the subway is your new Subaru? And my homemade tacos is the new Chipotle? And he looked at me and said, Dad, it's not Chipotle, it's Chipotle. I said, wait a second, you got a 45 or 80 on your Spanish final, you're correcting me? I don't know if it's Chipotle or Chipotle, but I really love their pulled pork fajitas. He said, whoa, Dad, they're pronounced fajitas. This is the genius I'm growing up over here. Getting older, it's tougher, and I have some elderly relatives. In fact, I was talking to my 93-year-old relative, my Uncle Tom. I think he knows Uncle Chooch, Tom, as well. Grew up in the same neighborhood. So, Uncle Tom, I'm telling him, I'm having a lot of problems with my Bluetooth. He said, Bruce, have you tried Kretz White Strips?
Yeah.
He said, you should go to the dentist, have a look at the brown ones too. So I actually went to the dentist the other day. I was there for 3 hours. This guy worked on my mouth so much. At the point, they called me Sir Etna of the good dental coverage. Lord Flossalot. They said, let us be your indentured servant. I have so much porcelain in my mouth, more than my wife's Hummel collection. I have so many bridges that my dentist lets me pay with Easy Pass. I guess I shouldn't complain at my age. It's good to have more teeth than toes. And the only thing I take out at night is the trash. I'm a lucky guy. What can I tell you? But it is getting tough getting older. The other day I looked in the mirror. I looked like a rusted old 56 Buick. This body was totally shot and out of alignment. My rear end was making funny sounds. My hose is starting to leak. My ball joints have all dried up. I said, I better get Mako. Mako says, no, you better get Medicare. It's hard, man. It's hard. I remember back in the day if I had a leak in my house, I'd call my plumber. Now I call my urologist. And Scotty, it's $50 cheaper. I remember going out on Friday night. I'm sure a lot of you guys, Tom knows this. We used to go out Friday nights to the dances and everything, disco, to the bars. I used to get on the bar and do Jello shots. Now at my age, I'm doing gel knee shots. It's getting tougher and tougher every day. And I'm starting to forget things. I swear my phone mattress has a better memory than I do. And my wife said to me the other day, she said, Bruce, lately when I speak to you, you don't seem to be paying attention to me. You have loss of hearing? I said, no, I got lots of listening. Yeah. Donna's shaking her head. She can understand that, right? Yeah. And lately it's been tough in the bedroom. Lately my sex life has been like my savings account. There's been very little interest. But I tell you, try and spice things up. I said to my wife, let's play some secret Asian games. said, "You can call me James, as in James Bondage." And she said, "You can call me Dr. No, as in no friggin' way."
Love that one.
She said, "You can call me Pussy No More." And she said, "You can call me Cold Finger." Marriage is tough. Just celebrated 40 years, 40 years. And everybody says marriage is a wonderful institution. So is the Bellevue Sanitarium. I think that's my time, folks. It's been a pleasure.
Bruce, Bruce, hey,
Yay.
listen, before
All
you
right,
go, I forgot to
Bruce.
mention,
Yes, sir.
you've got a movie coming out. I think the premiere is April 10th. It's called King of Newark 3.
Right.
And I just
Right.
wanted to thank you, and I forgot to mention that. I was also going to tell them about your naked swimming class you had, but I guess we'll save
Okay.
that for another one.
I can come back at the end and do a double headliner over here. A double header. But anyway, King of Newark 3 premiering in Newark 12plex, April 10th, red carpet event. Get to walk the red carpet, hopefully, and not vacuum it. Okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to introduce you with that, but Ed Smyth is starting to piss me off. I'm telling you. I haven't even met the guy, and he's starting to piss me off. All right, next up, coming from New Jersey. This young lady told me a story when I interviewed her about trying to get some marijuana. Without further ado, Donna Lloyd, my friend, I related to that story so much.
What's up?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me and all of us. I'm missing all of my friends. Everyone here has been someone I've worked with in some capacity, and we want to thank our late friend Jody Oliver for introducing all of us, and thank you, Scott, for carrying a torch. And thank God for this.
Well, listen, if we all have a good time, I might do it again. What I need is I'm going to need Jeff Greenberg to pay for my monthly Zoom.
Jeff Greenberg is on duty. He's on duty.
There you go.
So I come here, with a set in mind, but it kind of goes out the window when I hear everybody else talk. But I just want to thank God for this Zoom show, because otherwise I might just be sitting at home on my computer.
Yeah.
All right, smart ass.
All right, is Zygy still here? I don't know.
He's up there. He's up there.
What's the name of that bird? Is it called an egret? Egret? Is that the name of it? Am I saying it right? It's like a bird from the wild.
What did you ask? Did you ask me
What kind
something?
of bird is it, Zygy?
It's called it's called a green-cheeked conure. Green-cheeked conure.
Not your bird. The wild bird in the wild called an egret. Isn't there something called an egret?
Yeah, something like that. Sure. We'll go along. Just go ahead. Go for it.
Well, egrets. I ate a few, and some of them taste just like chicken. And emu, I had some too, and some of them taste just like chicken. All right, I'm moving on. Tom Padovano.
Look out.
I'm Italian too, my friend. I got to keep up with the Jersey Shore regulations, right?
Yes.
All Italian, half Italian, or a company buying Italian. Guys, listen, I'm from Jersey, right? And I was thinking about that particular saying, I'm from Jersey. Like, that doesn't work with any of the other states that start with new, right? Like, people say, hey, I'm from York, right? Or I'm from Hampshire. You just don't hear it. It's like, hey, well, you're from York? Jolly good. I'm from Hampshire. And, at the same time right now, you might not want to say, hey, I'm from Mexico. If you're not, it might be, I don't know, it might be something. But listen, here at the shore, we're very diverse. We get along. We have people that visit us from all over in the summertime, particularly from the tri-state area, mostly from York. And I can actually tell where people are from just by the way that they kind of behave, like if I hear lovers on the beach, for instance, say, hey, Marie, get my suntan lotion out of the car, will you? What do I look like? Your mother? Get it yourself. Just know, folks, we are very happy to have people from Staten Island visit us.
Right.
Staten Island is to New York what Sicily is to Italy. I'm just saying, Tom. Okay. Now, listen, when folks come down from Brooklyn, they like to take 2 parking spaces with 1 car. We give them a break. Have you been to Brooklyn lately? They don't even have drug dealers on the street anymore in Brooklyn. They just have dudes saving parking spaces going, yo, I got a square for you right here. Compact only, right in front of Dwayne Reed. Hey, am I right, Jeff? We get some, I can tell when people from very upstate New York come down, they're the ones that are cutting their flannels and denims off into swimwear, you know, playing frisbee with a cigarette. Don't play more Leonard Skinner. So, you know, and then sometimes we have whole families piling in on the train, from grandma to baby, dancing merengue and salsa, you know, hot Latino men all oiled up. We get along, you know, we have every kind of ethnic restaurant that you can think of, any kind of food that you want to eat. Here's a tip on the restaurant, Jeff. If you come down in the summertime, stay away from anything that's named after a vegetable or a number. Very expensive. Like, you know, a place called Arugula is going to cost you a lot of cabbage. I'm just saying. Even our local Denny's is on tourism kick now. They've done away with their moons over Miami, and now it's drones over New Jersey. You know, you have no idea. And Bruce will probably appreciate this. We have an authentic Jewish deli in my neighborhood, and I was there so much over the last year. I met these 2 guys, I'm not kidding, named Shmuley and Shlomo. Shmuley and Shlomo were talking about a schvitz, and they were having a one had some schmutz. They were sharing shawarma and schnitzel all at the same shop. Just shit. You know what I'm saying? And listen, speaking of deli meat, right now we're in Lent, and that'll put the brakes on the old brisket. You know what I'm saying? But listen, for those of you guys who don't observe or don't know what really Lent is, it means for a very limited time, over the course of a few weeks, Wendy's has their fish fillet sandwiches back. Listen, guys, we get along. We're culturally diverse. Our restaurants are thriving. And do you know why? Because we have medical marijuana dispensaries. That's why.
Right.
Okay. Now, I don't know if this is the crowd, but I got curious. So I'm in line because there's long lines. And the 2 guys in front of me must have known each other, because they were like, how you doing, dude? And the other guy's like, what's up, bro? And he's like, how you doing, dude? And what's up, bro? And, you know, that was a 10-minute conversation. And, you know, these were young surfer kids, okay? But my old ass is starting to hear a Cheech and Chong conversation. You know, the one guy's like, hey, man, you better not buy that weed. You know, you got to get a job, man. They're going to, like, drug test you. You know, that stuff stays in your system for like a month. And the other guy goes, nah, man, it don't stay in your system for no month. It's more like 30 days. I said, I'll have what they're having. I don't know if that's my Scott. I better give it back to the Zoom.
Whatever. Listen, I love you. I think you're great.
Yeah.
And like I said, if we have a good time, I just got to get Jeff Greenberg to pay for my full-time Zoom, and we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I've never met this guy. He shows up late. He's sending me messages. I'm telling you, you're off to a rough start with me, Ed. I'm telling you, Ed Smyth, coming to us from New York.
Yeah.
You're friends with Bruce Lipsky, but Bruce Lipsky gets me pissed off. I tell you, my temper gets flaring like a pack of hemorrhoids. Ed, go ahead, buddy. You're on the air.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Scott. Hello, everyone. Nice to see all the familiar faces again.
Yeah. It's nice
Ted,
to meet you,
Impressionist. Ed. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Ted the Impressionist. I love to come to Zoom shows like this and do impressions.
Okay.
Hey, I bet you all like cats, huh? Okay. Here's a cat as a backhoe. and he comes with his own kitty cat warning system. Meow, 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 meow. Okay. Next, here's
great stuff.
Great. Here's a cat, several cats racing at the Indianapolis 500. Meow, 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 meow. Okay. Here's a crazy chainsaw. Here's a crazy cat. Okay. Here's a dog with very low self-esteem. Woof. Okay. Here's a dog as quality control inspector at the sandpaper factory. Rough, rough. Okay. Here's T-Rex as a mime. Well, he's in a box. Okay. Here's his distant cousin, Godzilla, sneezing yogurt on himself. Well, that's why he destroys cities. Okay. Now, here's the story of Petey, the slightly misanthropic, anthropomorphic penguin. Yes, Petey Petey was slightly anthropomorphic because, first of all, he had a first name, and he is able to use his flippers as digital fingers, which will become evident in the story later on. Yes, for month after month, Petey just walked around the frozen tundra of Antarctica with nothing to do or see. Occasionally, he would see a passing trucker go by and beg him to honk his horn. Honk, honk, honk. Burp, burp, burp. You're probably confused why a trucker would be in the middle of Antarctica. So was Petey. But he realized that it was probably just an allegory of his life passing by, just like you have. So Petey wandered around, depressed and bored. Ronk, 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 ronk. So he turned that depression into entertainment by becoming a blues singer. Ronk, 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 ronk. Ronk, 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 ronk. Ronk, 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 ronk. The end.
Oh my. Very good, Ed. Very
there's
good.
More. There's more. That's just the end of the Petey story.
Oh, okay. Hey, we got more, kids. Go ahead, Ed.
Next impression. Yeah, here's the next impression. Here's an actor for the very beginning of West Side Story who forgot his lines. Okay. Last, here's a chimpanzee practicing his vowels. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hi, 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 hi. Ho, 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 ho. You, you, you. Okay, well, thank you. That's my time.
Oh, wow. I tell you what, look at everybody's clapping for you, Ed.
Ah.
That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. Well, listen, I thank everybody. I hope you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I'll do is I hope to take everyone and take a little clip and share it on Instagram and everything. The whole video will come out probably in about 2 weeks.
Right. I
Thank
thought you
you,
were going to
guys.
perform some jokes tonight, Scott.
What's that?
I thought you were performing tonight.
I'll tell you what, I'll do one joke. I'll just do
Okay.
one joke, Bruce. I
Do
think
it.
my
All
camera
right.
moved a little bit. I'll just do one joke because you guys are all real clean comics, and I'm really dirty and nasty. Zygy knows that. I did this joke for Zygy earlier, but I'll do it for you, Bruce. You guys probably know it. Do you know my grandfather was like Elvis?
Oh yeah.
And we found him dead on the toilet.
Ah,
That's a rim shot, literally a rim shot.
I
There
have
you
to
Well,
say,
go.
honestly,
Is that okay,
That's
Bruce? Did I do okay?
honestly, this is true story. My father actually died on the toilet.
Wow.
See, I
Sure.
told you. I told you. I
He
told
did.
you
He actually
Lipsky would
did.
have something.
He actually did. He actually did. Yeah.